This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, the Lord Yahweh, power of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Call Haloyim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahushai, Ba Hashem, Rachakodas Wakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Aqua and Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, we say Shalom. This is the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And I want to do a quick lesson on, I got a news break app that just came to me. I've been trying to find some edifying articles, and it's the spirit, because we was just going into all this, or we was going into the eviction moratorium yesterday at camp, and Lord and behold, look what Trump then did. So this is a news break app. It's the Associated Press. It's by Alexandria Olsen and Jill Colvin, and it's 11 hours old. It says unemployment benefits expire for millions as Trump rages. West Palm Beach, Florida. Unemployment benefits for millions of Americans struggling to make ends meet lapsed overnight as President Donald Trump refused to sign an end-of-the-year COVID relief and spending bill that has been considered a done deal before his sudden objections. And that's the spirit. Well, it's the spirit, because everything is the will of the Most High God. The book of Sirach, chapter 18, tells you that all things bend to his will. The thing is, everybody, I've been off since Wednesday, earlier this week. And I heard, certain people that I work around, they talk about, oh, yeah, the bill is passed. And, yeah, we getting that second stimulus and doing the little nigga dance and all that shit. And then Trump said he want 2,000 for each American. And then they shut that shit down, the speaker and all that. Well, I don't think it was the Democrats. I think it was the Republicans, Mitch McConnell. And then basically, Trump literally, and like I said, I brought it out at camp. It's smoke and mirrors. They're playing amongst, because something about to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. Only the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua know, but you can feel it in the spirit. Who's to say this man gonna even leave office? They was talking about how literally there's been talks about martial law. So at the end of the day, then he's partnering on all these different people, just showing you how corrupt this system is. But we were just talking about how the eviction moratorium literally got extended, but it's only extended based on the fact of if they pass that bill. He vetoed the bill. So it says unemployment benefits for millions of Americans struggling to make ends meet lapsed overnight as President Donald Trump refused to sign an end-of-the-year COVID relief and spending bill that had been considered a done deal before his sudden objections. The fate of the bipartisan package remained in limbo Sunday as Trump continued to demand larger COVID relief checks and complained about pork spending. Without the widespread funding provided by the massive measure, a government shutdown would occur when money runs out at 12:01 a.m. Tuesday. So this Tuesday coming up, basically the government isn't going to have money to continue to function. And they were speaking about this like last month. But if you got people so lost in la la land and so full of mirth because Babylon is full of so many fucking distractions. Like I was just bringing out another article, not to digress and not to go into it, but even though this is the weakest holiday season I've ever felt in this place thus far, call Haloyim La Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, at the end of the day, you still got people. You got to remember, we are in the world, but not of the world. So we be amongst Jake and Esau and other, not amongst the other heathens and not amongst Esau like that. But we got to move in and around them. I work with Esau. You know what I mean? And the thing is, you got a lot of people that's stuck in folly the whole time they talking about this fucking football shit. The fuck is you still in the football for when they talking about the whole Browns basically looking stupid, even though this they like one of their best seasons because so many players are supposed to got the CV-19. So it's funny how the Lord is mocking this place so much. Salakia, it's a chess game and we are pawns, said And that's spiritual though, because it is a chess game. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't Satan playing against the Most High. No, it's, you know what I mean, Esau trying to play against the Most High, not knowing the Most High got you in the trick bag. You know, it tells you in multiple scriptures about how the Most High orders the steps of men. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, they literally was past that bill. It was just waiting for certain. That's why they was making statements about how this and that and that, how soon you could get the money. And then he literally just vetoed that shit. He refused to sign it. Yeah, he like a big ass kid. But call Haloyim La Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Through the will and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, I've been taken care of this whole time. May the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua still find and give me mercy and grace that he continues to take care of me and my household and the sincere Akim out there pushing this faith and pushing this truth. It says it's a chess game and we are pawns, said Latrice Haynes, a self-employed single mother of 3 in South Bend, Indiana, who stood to lose her 129 weekly jobless benefit unless Trump signed the package into law or succeeded in his improbable quest for changes. And that's not even no money, $129 a week. Like, come on. At one point, she was benefiting from that 600 plus what this. So she was getting probably like, $730 a week plus whatever lump sum she got. And now show you how the Lord give you and take away. Made me think of the book of Job. Because that's a perfect example of something. Like I say, when Job basically had to tell his wife, he said, roughly paraphrasing, he said, should we only praise the Most High when he gives us and not gives us good and not ill? Roughly paraphrased. Everybody was loving it when it was getting the big ass stimulus checks and all that. Nah, shit looking serious. They were just scared. It's hilarious. Anyhow, Washington has been reeling since Trump turned on the deal after they had won sweeping approval in both houses of Congress and after the White House assured Republican leaders that Trump was supporting. Now, mind you, the Republicans, that's how you know this is all a game, man. Just like how you got that Democratic the mayor of what was that Nashville with the explosion. He laughing on fucking TV about the explosion. I mean, he wasn't ha 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 like Santa Claus, but he was up there smirking and shit. You know what kind of demonic spirit you gotta have to laugh at, because people lost shit within that. But it wasn't them, so therefore, like, man, I can't wait till the Most High destroy this place. Instead, he assailed the bill's plan to provide 600 COVID relief checks. Salakia. Instead, he assailed the bill's plan to provide $600 COVID relief checks to most Americans, insisting it should be $2,000. House Republicans swiftly rejected that idea during a rare Christmas Eve session, but Trump has not been swayed in spite of the nation being in the grip of a pandemic. I simply want to give our great people $2,000 rather than the measly $600 that is now in the bill. Trump tweeted Saturday from Palm Beach, Florida, where he is spending the holiday. Also, stop the billions of dollars in pork. President-elect Joe Biden called on Trump to sign the bill immediately as the midnight Saturday deadline neared for 2 federal programs providing unemployment aid. So because you got and that's why I say this is a game. You get what I'm saying? Like, now I don't know what he's gonna do. You know what I mean? Like I said, at the end of the day, you can clearly see this the end. You got people fucked up. I seen I was gonna do a video about it. I was talking about child hunger right now, and then it's been in the news. They talk about how, this holiday season took a toll on a lot of people. There's a lot of people fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember, a lot of people ain't, and then that little $600 the $600 a week that they only provided for a certain amount of time. You know what I'm saying? See, that's how you know that the Most High got them in a trick bag. These people don't really even think that they going off. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's all the will of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. They trying to justify shit. It's like how when they brought the casinos to the city of Cleveland, Now, I watched that literally take a toll on a lot of people that's fucked up. People that's getting, SSI and live off a monthly income. But you seeing them down at the casino blowing their whole check, looking stupid as fuck. But because they put up a hotline, that justified it. And that's how that devil operates. is the day after Christmas, and millions of families don't know if they'll be able to make ends meet because of President Donald Trump's refusal to sign an economic relief bill approved by Congress with an overwhelming and bipartisan majority. Biden said in a statement he accused Trump of an abdication of responsibility that has devastating consequences. I have been talking to people who are scared they're going to be kicked out from their homes during the Christmas holidays and still might be if we don't sign the bill, said Representative Debbie Dingell, a Michigan Democrat. Lauren Bauer, a fellow in economic studies at the Brookings Institute, which is the same, Brookings Institution, which is the same institution that literally basically came up with the survey saying basically would people take the jab for a $1,200 like stimulus or money. So like I say, and then these people so like up in your face with the shit. Like now we did a video about this, but then you got this Bauer bitch that's literally up there. and they run a number. See, that's the thing about Esau. He does a diligent search. So they trying to get everybody in a desperate situation to have to rely on taking that jab. You know, that's why you got an hour of temptation coming, because you're gonna be put in a position: do I take this or not? It says Lauren Bauer, a fellow in economic studies at the Brookings Institution, has calculated that 11 million people will lose aid from the programs immediately without additional relief. Millions more would exhaust other unemployment benefits within weeks. Andrew Steiner, an unemployment insurance expert and senior fellow at the Century Foundation think tank, said, see, another one of these think tanks. So you got groups, like the Club of Rome. You got like the Bilderberg meetings and all that. You got these groups that, with all these different individuals that come together and try to control policy and come up with ideas. Like the book of Psalms chapter 83 speaks on how you had a confederate or a group of nations. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like with the Bilderbergs, that's not just Esau. That's, everybody that's affiliated with his agenda. It says Century Foundation think tank said the number may be closer to 14 million because joblessness has spiked since Thanksgiving, which that's believable. All these folks and their families will suffer if Trump doesn't sign the damn bill. Heidi Schreiholz, director of policy at the Liberal Economic Policy Institute, tweeted. And the funny part is this. If I never watched that, The Apprentice, but you got to remember this man's ego and what type of individual. This man is a fucking actor. You got to remember, don't y'all recall? I didn't watch that shit like that, but I recall when you had Vince McMahon and you had Donald Trump literally on WWE, and Trump sitting up there talking shit about I'm prettier, I got more money, you know what I mean? And they up there really acted. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what agenda this plays, at the end of the day, if you can't see that this place is divided, division, then the Lord really has no love for you. And the thing is, though, it tells you that all eyes gonna see him. So eventually, maybe after you got jabbed, that's when you're gonna wake up to it like, damn. It says, how and when people will be affected by the lapses depend on the state they live in. On the state they lived in, the program they were relying on, and when they apply for benefits. In some states, people on regular unemployment insurance will continue to receive payments under a program that extends benefits when the jobless rate surpassed a certain threshold. Stetner said about 9.5 million people, however, have been relying on the pandemic unemployment assistance program that expired altogether Saturday. That program made unemployment insurance available to freelancers, gig workers, and others who were normally not eligible. After receiving their last checks, those recipients will not be able to file for more aid, Stetner said. So, while Trump talking about he created all these jobs because of, these app-based jobs, a lot of the people was getting money because, like I said, that's not a normal job. Like unemployment, you gotta meet certain criteria. You gotta work a certain amount of time. You get what I'm saying? Like you gotta work at least like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 20 weeks. So that's like 6 months or something like that. But with the program they created, it allowed people, Because it was people that got money for the pandemic that had just got jobs. You know what I mean? Or like I said, if you could prove that you had a job but didn't necessarily have like stubs and whatnot. People was getting paid. Like I worked with a Edom. Well, he might have been Jake. I worked with a guy though, and he was like he got money, but it was an under the table job working with his dad, but he still got money. He said he bought a truck with it. And so it was ways for you to get money out of this shit without like the traditional. It wasn't it like they created another program so everybody got money. Not dealing with the traditional criteria, put it like that. Um, while payments could be received retroactively, any gap would mean more hardship and uncertainty for Americans who had already grappled with bureaucratic delays, often depleting much of their savings to stay afloat while waiting for payments to kick in. And that just show you how these motherfuckers do not give a fuck about you. But you people still running to them for trust, and you trust in them more than you trust in anything. More than you trust in yourself, which is off. But I mean, like I said, you got people that sit up there, they really trusting in this man's Maxine's before you trusting in the Heavenly Father. And then everybody talk about how they got this on, they belief in the Most High God, though. Oh, yeah, a God of my understanding, though. Man. I mean, this dude, because you got to remember, during this whole pandemic, anybody that worked for government, pay attention to who stayed working. Most of the people that work for the government. The federal government never laid nobody off. So all the politicians, all the senators, you know what I'm saying? All the fucking federal agents, all that. It says, while payments could be received retroactively, any gap would mean more hardship and uncertainty for Americans who had already grappled with bureaucratic delays, often depleting much of their savings to stay afloat while waiting for payments to kick in. They were people like Earl McCarthy, a father of four who lives in South Fulton, Georgia, and had been relying on unemployment since losing his job as a sales representative for a luxury senior living community. He said he would be left with no income by the second week of January if Trump refused to sign the bill. McCarthy said he already burned through much of his savings as he waited 5 months to begin receiving about $350 a week in unemployment benefits. It took, right, because you got to remember, when the pandemic happened, they were so overwhelmed with all the people filing. I remember watching one brother, he was like, he had to call for weeks. Right. The entire experience was horrifying, said McCarthy. I shudder to think if I had not saved anything or had an emergency fund through those 5 months, where would we have been? He added, it's going to be difficult if the president doesn't sign his bill. The bill, which was in Florida awaiting Trump's signature, would also activate a weekly $300 federal supplement to unemployment payments. Sharon Shelton Corpening had been hoping the extra help would allow her 83-year-old mother with whom she lives to stop eating into her Social Security payments to make their $1,138 rent. And that's them big, you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine? You got people struggling with little rent. And only people that's not really struggling is a lot of people that's on like the government assistance. Pay attention to that. Like this place was so fucked up, but yet still people that's on food stamps get government like SSI and SSDI and live in like all the hood and all the government housing. They never really was affected, and that's why Jake and a lot of these. Well, most so Jake, I'm gonna say. I mean, Esau lightweight be aware of certain shit. It's the 2/3 nigga that just think, oh, like a nigga like Honeycomb Brazy that just think, oh yeah, this shit's sweet. You know what I mean? Like, nigga, this shit is suck. A nigga that believe in Martin Luther King did something for you for real. Corpening, who lives in Atlanta area, and these weird ass names, Corpening, who lives in Atlanta area, had launched a freelance content strategy business that was just taking off before the pandemic hit. And that's just show you how sudden, people say peace and safety, but then sudden destruction shall appear. Roughly paraphrased, because like I said, he just launched a business, think he doing something. That's just like I said, to show you how blind people really is. You got people who got married during this fucking shit. Like, why would you get married during a year when some shit like this? That show you how spiritually discerned people are. Like, they don't, man. It says it says she had just started a content strategy business that was just taking off before the pandemic hit, prompting several of her contracts to fall through. She was receiving about $125 a week under the pandemic unemployment program and says she would be unable to pay her bills in about a month. This despite her temporary work for the U.S. Census and as an election poll worker. As you put your faith in Babylon. We on the brink. We on the brink, said Corpening, who lobbies for unemployment action, a project launched by the Center for Popular Democracy to fight for relief. One more month, if that, then I run out of everything. In addition to the unemployment benefits that we have already lapsed, Trump's continued refusal to sign a bill would lead to the expiration of eviction protections. And that's the spirit. We was just talking about this yesterday at camp. I'm gonna try and hurry this up because I want to put this in the group chat, and I got some other things to do. But Lord willingly, the work comes before everything. In addition to the unemployment benefits that have already lapsed, Trump's continued refusal to sign a bill will lead to the expiration of eviction protections and put on a new round of subsidies for hard-hit businesses, restaurants, and theaters, as well as money for cash-starved transit systems and for vaccine distribution. The relief was also attached to a $1.4 trillion government funding bill to keep the federal government operating through September, which would mean that failing to sign it by midnight Tuesday would trigger a federal shutdown. And like I said, at the end, it's a reason why they all doing it. This is all smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? Like I said, this is the first time he done a lot. He been talking about how the people need aid, but then, like, what the fuck? This is they stalling. Don't y'all get that? You know, and then while you putting your trust all in this red Hebrew evil, this motherfucking DJ Trump, this the same dude that said he was gonna get Mexico to pay for that wall, and what that guy did, that Issachar, right? I believe he's Issachar. You know what I mean? Like, I just know that person that said, no, no, no. he said, no, no, no. So, I mean, it's funny. The relief was also attached to a $1.4 trillion government funding bill to keep the federal government operating. So not only it was way more than what they believed. You know what I mean? It wasn't just $900 billion. It was attached to a $1.4 trillion. So that's over $2 trillion. You get what I'm saying? Because if it was $900 billion, that's supposed to have been going to the programs and to so you could get the $600 check. It was $1.4 trillion government funding bill to keep the federal government operating through September, which would mean that failing to sign it by midnight Tuesday would trigger a federal shutdown. That's the end of the article. So, like I said, again, and you got to remember, but during this whole thing, while people playing with your family, your livelihood, with your life, and that of your families, they still got their paycheck. You know, Pelosi and all these fucking congressmen that making all these meetings, and they got paid throughout this whole thing. And that's just showing you how devilish this man is. And that's why I started with that Isaiah, because at the end of the day, a lot of people, it told you, for behold, the Lord Yahweh of hosts doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. So the stay, your homes, your livelihood, your money, a lot of people about to be affected by this. They've already being affected. They just not letting you know, This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 29. The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery and have vexed the poor and needy. Yea, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. The people of this land, you know what I mean? These red Hebrew Edomites, and who are the poor and needy? Jake, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians, and Haitians. The true biblical Hebrew Israelites. That's why, I'm going to get this other scripture. This is the book of Proverbs 22. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 22, verse 22. Rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. So, like I said, this devil constantly oppresses the poor. You can go back to stories of our forefathers of how Jake was taken advantage of. I was listening to Elder Malcolm talking about how, when you go into the Chicago Black Belt and, and Rosewood and Black Wall Street, that's when Jacob was prospering and Esau had to come to them. And the Most High didn't want that because, so literally, this ain't supposed to be your rest. This is supposed to be a judgment for breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. But we've been oppressed by this red Hebrew Edomite because we got to go to for him for the one of all things. If you don't think that's oppression when we had it ourselves, to show you how this is, and then like I said, and then people so stupid don't even understand racism. Like I said, they don't want you near them, around them, but then when you went off and did it yourself, they actually Black Wall Street was blown up. I'm gonna end it with this because at the end of the day, like I said, you got people still trusting in this system, and especially our people. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 13, verse 14. For here have we no continuous city, but we seek one to come. And that's why the brothers that's in this truth that actually preach this word week in, week out, that sincerely believe, we know that we have no continuous city in this place. And with just, like I said, that article and really reading it, and this Edomite, this red fucking devil actually playing around. I mean, of course, like I said, it won't benefit him and his people. But like I said, they're not just affecting us. They're affecting their own people as well. That's why it's going to be a great destruction. You know what I'm saying? But this is the time, like I said, to be coming out of this place. Because, like I said, as you can see, these people don't give a fuck about you. And then they don't have the money. That's why, like I said, they telling you the debt is a one thing, 20 trillion or 23 trillion. But it's more like 200 trillion, like the elder apostle to her has made mention multiple times. Come on, they literally just sit up there and present it to the public 900 billion when that's an extra 2 trillion because they actually got a whole nother bill that's 1.4 trillion. Fuck this devil. So, you know what I mean? And like I say, it was so spiritual because we just was talking about all this at camp. So the Lord just put this devil's spirit out. Call Haloyim La Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem. So with that, Lord willing, it was an edifying video. If you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua or be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Call Haloyim La Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwaf and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, it was an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth to you. We say shalom until next time, Lord willingly. Shalom, shalom, and mawat lababal. Shalom.